Another type of wet finishing is chemical finishing. Chemical finishing includes such processes as softening, resin finishing, tinting, over-dyeing, and others. Some of these processes require only tumble drying, while others require a curing step. First, softeners. Softeners include a wide variety of chemicals. For denim garment applications, they must be able to be applied in a rotary machine. Cationic softeners are a good choice because they produce a fluffy, silky hand on most fabrics. It doesn't take much to get this effect on cotton because cationic softeners have a positive ionic charge and wet cotton has a negative charge. This gives cotton a high affinity for cationic softeners. Another advantage of cationic softeners is that they easily exhaust and are compatible with most resin finishes. In addition to cationic softeners, non-ionic softeners like polyethylene and many silicones can also be used. Resin is the name commonly applied to chemical compounds that react with cotton or other forms of cellulose. These compounds modify cotton's performance by improving shape retention, decreasing shrinkage, and improving color fastness. On denim, resin is applied for improved color retention, faster development of abraded areas, and help in the formation of whiskers, pleats, and creases. The formation of whiskers, pleats, and creases will be covered in the dry finishing section of this CD. Resin finishing is a form of cross-linking in which chemical bonds are created between polymer molecules to form a three-dimensional polymeric network. In addition to the actual resin, resin finishing formulations contain a wetting agent and a catalyst. Other chemicals, such as softeners, can also be added. The process for resin finishing of denim garments includes the following steps. First, applying the resin formulation to the garments. Then extracting the resin, if necessary. Next, tumble drying at a low temperature. Pressing, if needed. Dry finishing. And finally, oven curing. When curing takes place after garments have been pressed and dry finished, it's called a post-cure system. Denim jeans can be post-cured with either one of two methods, immersion or metered addition. In the immersion or dip process, garments are placed in a garment washer in a bath of the finishing formulation. Once the garments are saturated, excess solution is drained into a storage tank where it's saved for further use. The garments are then centrifugally extracted and tumbled dry at low temperature in a dryer allocated for resinated goods only. If the garments are wrinkled after drying, they're either steam or hothead pressed. Then any desired dry garment finishing effects, such as whiskering or pleating, are added. Finally, the garments are cured in an oven. Another method for post-curing denim is metered addition. Metered addition is a precisely controlled method for infusing denim garments with a resin formulation, as the garments tumble in a garment washing machine. Either dry or wet garments can be finished by metered addition. The process begins when the garments are loaded into an empty rotary machine with a specially designed door with multiple spray heads. This sample machine, for example, has one spray head. A microprocessor turns the spray heads on and off as needed, allowing for complete and uniform application of the chemistry to the garment. As the garments begin tumbling, the heads spray a resin bath onto them in precisely the amount needed for a uniform application. There is no waste or bath to pump into a holding tank. Once the garments have tumbled for the correct amount of time for the equilibration of the chemistry, they're removed from the machine and tumble-dried at a low temperature in a dryer allocated for resinated goods only. When the garments are dry, they may be steam-pressed or, if very wrinkled, hothead pressed. Any desired dry garment finishing effects, such as whiskering or pleating, are added. Finally, the garments are cured in an oven.
Metered addition effectively has no chemical waste and uses less water and energy, so it's a more environmentally friendly process. Some of its other benefits include a lower exposure to formaldehyde, the creation of a softer hand than fabric finishing, and decreased shrinkage and better fit.
We mentioned earlier that resin finishing is a form of cross-linking, and that resin finishing formulations contain both a resin and a catalyst. The catalyst activates the resin and causes the chemical cross-linking to occur. The process is known as curing. In order for the chemical reaction to be completed, the resin finish must be cured at a high temperature. approximately 300 to 320 degrees Fahrenheit. This is done in a curing oven, either a semi-continuous batch oven or a continuous oven. A batch oven consists of a reaction chamber in which garments are hung for curing. In some cases, the garments are put on special hangers and placed in the oven one by one. More commonly, an entire rack of garments is rolled into the oven. With a continuous curing oven, garments are placed onto an overhead rail system which moves the garments through the oven. The system speed is set for the proper curing time for each product. Here we see the entrance of a continuous curing oven. Slacks are placed on specially made hangers which are hung on a conveyor system to move the jeans through the oven. Denim vests and jeans enter from the right of the machine and exit from the left. Once the garments exit the oven, they cool for a while before they're removed from the conveyor system and taken off their hangers. After processes like discharge and heavy sanding, many denim garments are overdyed. The tint or overdye shows up on those areas of the garment where the discharge or sanding process has removed the indigo color. A common tint is a dirty-looking brown. Some garments have very little indigo dye loss before they're overdyed. In these garments, the white or undyed filling yarns are overdyed. These overdye shades range from light pastel to dark black. To overdye accented areas, a direct dye is used during one of the final steps in rotary machine processing. A common overdye bath contains water, a wetting agent, and the dye stuff. The garment is processed for the correct time, temperature, and chemistry. Once the garment is dyed, a softener and color fixing agent are applied. The fixing agent locks in the dye to the fiber. Without a fixing agent, the dye won't adhere well to the garment fibers. Once the color is fixed, the garment is finally dried.